What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is safe and doing their best to stay COVID-free during these times. This cast today will cover all the latest, biggest free agency moves, as well as a quick recap of all 32 teams' best moves and concerns heading into next season, because there is going to be one, guys. Let's speak it into existence. Let's keep our faith. New season will be on the way. Before we start, just want to give a small heads up on how this cast will go. There will be several teams that I'll go in a bit deeper and actually incorporate some sound bits from local fans of that particular team. If we're talking about the Vikings, there might be a caller or fan who'll dial in and give us some feedback on how they feel about the Vikings offseason moves, etc. So without further ado, let's get started. The Arizona Cardinals, who I think is becoming one of my teams to keep an eye on, as you all know, have acquired DeAndre Hopkins from a trade with the Houston Texans. They still have a productive Larry Fitzgerald, picked up some pass rush help in signing Devin Kennard. Listen, I like the potential of this team. Kyler has a new weapon. You've got a coach who has something to prove. Let's have some fun. You telling me you only lose David Johnson? Come on, let's go Arizona. I know it's a tough division, no pressure. Just go out there and have fun. Looking at the Atlanta Falcons, who really, if you ask me, haven't reached their full potential to me since the Fire Nation attack, guys. We all remember that day. The Falcons choked with one of the most well-rounded offenses, albeit against the GOAT. Now, once again, Matt Ryan has a new look offense. Todd Gurley and Julio and Ridley are the focal points. I think Matty Ice might be on the clock, man. He could go down as one of those QBs who never gets a ring. We've seen him with Michael Turner the Burner, Tony Gonzalez, prime Roddy White. I just think it's time, Matt Ryan. I know that defense is a little older, a little injury prone. Guys like Desmond Trufant, who is now gone, along with guys like Vic Beasley, and then you lose Austin Hooper. The point is, it's time to get this done. Will it happen? Most likely not. Let's see what my longtime Falcons fan Jordan Curry has in mind for his team next season. Jordan, how do you feel about the Falcons picking up Gurley? I like the move in hopes he can return to his full form, but what do you expect from your guys this upcoming season?
What I can say is, first of all, I'm glad to say I'm very excited to have Todd Gurley in the Atlanta Falcons uniform, especially these new dripped out new uniforms we got coming in. I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is what we needed to move. Like, we needed to move on from Devontae Freeman. I mean, I think he was still a great back, but I mean, as far as Atlanta goes, our always struggles was always defense, majority of the time. So now that we're stacking up on defense, we took a big hit, losing Trufant, but I'm pretty sure we have some new young corners coming in that's gonna fulfill that spot in that defense gap. And then, we still have Julio, we still have Ridley. I mean, we still have an offensive powerhouse. So at the same time, we still got Greedy Jarrett on the field, making plays. So I don't know. This season is really looking like a very winnable Super Bowl season. I mean, we can talk about the big 2083. We can talk about that all day. But we're looking for more to the future of 20. Just getting the big W. I'm pretty sure this is going to be arguably the best season for the Falcons in a long time.
Hey man, I hear you with that, man. I think it's going to be very interesting. You got Tom Brady in Tampa Bay now. You got the Saints still got Drew Brees. The Panthers are probably looking to be in a rebuilding mode. But I mean, hey man, the Falcons got a shot still. If everything starts clicking the way I think it will, you guys will definitely be in there.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
Hey man, I want to thank you for being on the podcast, and you have a good one, brother.
You too. How was out?
Yes, sir. The Baltimore Ravens, man, this team is going to be nasty. This team is gearing up for another run. I love the Calais Campbell pickup from the Jags, even though he's 34 and only going to get older. I think he envisions perfectly what a stout Ravens defense needs. You got Matthew Judon, who re-signed. They also picked up Michael Brockers down low. This front seven can do some damage. The only thing I would have liked to seen, and maybe they attacked us in the draft, is a big, strong, athletic target for Lamar Jackson. I'm tired of seeing him throwing 3 tight end sets while the ball flies too high or off their hands on a tough seam route. I mean, imagine Lamar Jackson with a DK Metcalf, a DeAndre Hopkins. That's Super Bowl, fellas, or at least damn near close. On to the Buffalo Bills, which I think has arguably one of the best wide receiver groups in the AFC. You have Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown. I mean, what you want to do? You want to run zig slants? You want X and Y routes? Whatever you want to run, these guys can get it done. Josh Allen has weapons everywhere, and with a healthy Devin Singletary in the backfield, I think you really have to look out for this team. Now, on defense, they did lose Shaq Lawson and Lorenzo Alexander, 2 guys who were key in that front seven. Nonetheless, they'll still be a fun team to watch. The Carolina Panthers are now in rebuild mode. I really wish they would have manifested something with Cam in another season or two, but Bridgewater and McCaffrey will keep them afloat in a tough division. I could see them going 7-9 at best, something like that, most likely worse. I just really think that they have lost too much. Like, Luke Kuechly is gone, and I don't think you can run CMC into the ground this next season. Combine that with losing Gerald McCoy, Mario Addison, and Greg Olsen. I mean, It's just a flurry of moves that they got hit by. It's just going to make it really tough. The Chicago Bears, I feel like, have been consistent over the past 2 to 3 seasons. Consistently average or below. Why? A lot of it is predicated on Mitchell Trubisky, who I think has a skill set but isn't developing quick enough. A la Nick Foles is there now to battle him for the starting job. The Bears' weapons don't excite me either. If your best weapon is a scat back, you need some help, and a 33-year-old Jimmy Graham ain't it. Combine that with losing Prince Akamara, Leonard Floyd, HaHa Clinton Dix, and Taylor Gabriel, it doesn't really look good. Good luck facing A-Rod next season, Chicago Bears. The Cincinnati Bengals have been lackluster since 2014, I swear. Ever since Vontaze Burfict costed a few playoff runs against the Steelers, this team has not been the same. AJ Green don't really want to play there, that's why he's franchise tagged. $10 to anyone who can name their entire front seven without looking it up. The only way to save this season is Joe Burrow, and even he might not be able to turn everything around in his first year, granted he gets drafted there. Shout out Joe Mixon though, and I do like Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander to help out their secondary, but it just won't be enough. The Cleveland Browns was a team I was so ready to hop on the bandwagon for, but unfortunately did not live up to the expectations. But I must say they picked up some nice pieces and also lost some nice pieces too. You give Baker Mayfield another weapon in Austin Hooper and protection with tackle Jack Conklin from Tennessee. You pick up Carl Joseph, Andrew Sendejo, and Kevin Johnson to shore up your corner and safety depth, and you also lock up Kareem Hunt for another season depending on if someone matches that second-round tender on him. But you lose some key defensive pieces in Demarius Randall and Joe Sherbert. Overall, this team just needs the ball. The only other true contenders in this division are Baltimore and the Steelers. So, Browns, let's make something shake. The Dallas Cowboys, my favorite team, has some issues and some hope. As a fan, you would love to see confidence from your GM and front office staff to sign your QB and make a statement to the rest of the team that they ain't playing around, but at the same time, is Dak worth the money? This next season will show who is who and what is what with this team. I love the defensive pickups of Gerald McCoy and HaHa Clinton Dix, but the Cowboys also lost Byron Jones, a good cover guy, but he doesn't take the ball away necessarily, I get it. Robert Quinn I liked a lot, but okay, he's gone too. Oh yeah, and Randall Cobb, who I think is a bit underrated of a slot receiver, is also gone. He's older but still productive. The re-signings are good. I like Sean Lee. I like Amari as long as his head is straight and he's in the game. Jason Witten is a Hall of Famer but slow as dirt right now. And Jeff Heath was always around the ball but not always making the best play on the ball, if you feel me. He's a gambler. Not always bad but not always good. Center Travis Frederick is gone too. It'll just be interesting to see how things play out this next year. The Denver Broncos have done a lot to like. I love the way Justin Simmons plays safety. Locking him up for another season was key with the franchise tag. You pick up AJ Bouye to replace the aging Chris Harris. You pick up Jarrell Casey to seal the interior. And you also get Melvin Gordon to pair alongside Philip Lindsay. I like that a lot. Hopefully Drew Lock does too. Or depending on the draft, who knows, might be starting at QB. Another threat outside to go with Sutton and Noah Fant. Or O-lineman. We'll see what happens in a Kansas City-led division. The Detroit Lions are one of those NFL teams that go through the season beating teams you would think they shouldn't and lose to teams they should beat. They're just one of those weird teams that you can't nap on, but you also may not even need to account for. It's really a coin toss, but based on their free agency moves, they look like they might have another losing season. Losing Darius Slay was not good. Losing Snacks Damon Harrison is not good. I like Mike Daniels when he did the top 100 NFL players years back ago, but I can understand moving on from him. You cut Devin Kennard, one of your top outside linebackers. But yeah, you signed Jamie Collins, you signed Desmond Trufant, you overpay Vitae, a tackle that's good in run block, but not pass block for Stafford. Yeah, another season probably wasted under Matt Patricia. All these Belichick clones who haven't amounted to nothing. Let's keep going. The Green Bay Packers, which is one of my most hated teams because they always beat my Cowboys, are going to be in the nick of things once again. They lost a lot of pieces in free agency, such as Blake Martinez, tackle Brian Bulaga, Tremont Williams, Geronimo Allison, Jimmy Graham, and Kyler Fackrell. The point is, guys, this team is still led by Aaron Rodgers, and even though Mercedes Lewis isn't a sexy pickup, you can expect production there. This team still hasn't fully peaked to me, and if A-Rod is A-Rod, this is still a tough NFC team to face. Maybe if you add another wide receiver weapon to go along with Devontae Adams, you're in real prime shape, but it's the Packers, guys. They'll always be good. The Houston Texans and Bill O'Brien probably have had one of the worst free agencies possible, and it's solely based on O'Brien. I repeat, you do not give away DeAndre Hopkins. I repeat, you do not give away DeAndre Hopkins for any reason. Before you even get into how it affects Deshaun Watson, you just logically don't make this move. And that's why Bill O'Brien will rightfully be criticized for this move. You even have people joking like Madden wouldn't even do this trade. Randall Cobb will not replace the whole left. Brandon Cooks, even though you signed him, will not replace the whole left. David Johnson will not be the answer. But it's fine. The Texans always scrape up a 9-7 type record, get into the playoffs just to lose the first or second round. Last season against the Chiefs was the last time we'll see this team at its full power. The years to come will definitely be interesting. The Indianapolis Colts have had some great GM work over the past couple of years. This team is always competitive and right in the mix of things. What can put them over the hump? Replacing Andrew Luck is a start. And even though Brissett is decent, Phillip Rivers behind a good O-line wouldn't hurt. Combine that with DeForest Buckner on defense and Anthony Costanzo at tackle, and things might go well for this team. Keep an eye on them. With me here is longtime Colts fan Tyler Pearson. Tyler, how do you feel about your team's moves this offseason?
Well, the Colts done had some big moves this offseason. Definitely got Phillip Rivers. Definitely got the big trade for DeForest Buckner. That's exactly what we needed.
Right.
Had to share up our defensive line. We let go of a couple people, but we had to let them walk. I'm excited to see what Xavier Rhodes is gonna do. He was a pro. He was an all-pro kind of player.
Right.
He had a bad season, but I think he might bring it back. I think this might be the season. He shows me a little something. Right now, though, I'm looking for us to get another wide receiver. We need somebody to help T.Y. because these dudes, they ain't getting it out there for us.
Right. I feel you, man. That's very well said. You can go ahead.
I think that's about it. After that, we'll be pretty solid. That's all we need. Frank can handle everything else from there.
I think so as well, man. You guys got a good team. We'll be keeping track of them. Thank you so much, Tyler.
No problem, man.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are comparable to the 2012-2013 49ers when everybody left the damn team. Remember when Patrick Willis retired and Justin and Alden Smith left and Brooks, all those guys were part of the amazing defense, then all of a sudden it was like the abandoned ship. That's what the Jags are right now, abandoned ship, fellas. Your first round pick in Jalen Ramsey is gone. Telvin Smith is away from the team. He might not even play. Calais Campbell is gone. Miles Jack ain't been the same. AJ Bouye is gone now too. Yannick Ngakoue had to be franchise tagged. Everybody that was part of this championship defense a few years ago is now gone or don't even want to play. But yes, Joe Schobert is a nice signing, and I do have high hopes for Minshew. My longtime friend and Jags fan, Rashad Sessoms, is on the line. Rashad, how do you feel about the Jaguars coming up next season?
Man, I don't know, man. I feel like, we've just been having a lot of rough seasons. 2017, we had a breakout season. We had an all-star defense. And, that team has just been completely disassembled. Gutted, basically. We're down to, Ngakoue, Josh Allen. Ngakoue is leaving.
Right.
Out. So hopefully, I feel like the trades that we made for the specific picks that we're going to have in the upcoming draft, have an effect to where we can just, build back piece by piece. I really like Gardner Minshew, his production last season, especially as a morale builder. He definitely knows how to build morale around his team. So I'm definitely hoping to see more of that and just hoping to see him make a big jump from where he was last season. I know that's a lot to put on his shoulders, but, hey, we definitely need that moving forward for sure. And, defensive-wise, we still got Josh Allen up there on the front. He's an upcoming talent for sure. He's going to be a powerhouse in the league. Hopefully they could get some guys, to help him out, because our cornerback's depleted, front seven's depleted. So we definitely have some defensive pieces too, man. And we need to work on that offensive line too. That right side is kind of, But, yeah, man, we'll see. Based upon the picks and, what the team upstairs, decides to coordinate and get together, hopefully we'll have, kind of a good start. Because, hey, you look at the 49ers, they were, 3-win, 4-win team. Then next season, they turn around, they're in the Super Bowl. So, who knows, It's all about, just making the right move, getting the right people together, and hopefully we can make something happen, man.
Hey, that sounds like a great fan right there. That sounds like a lot of optimism and love for your team, man. I can respect that.
I know, man. it's hard, man. It's hard, but I mean, that's my people, you know. So I have to show them love and support.
Always, man. I appreciate you, Rashad, man. You have a good one, brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate you too, man. All right, take it easy, bro.
The Kansas City Chiefs haven't been too active, haven't been too quiet either in free agency. They franchise tagged Chris Jones and picked up another year option on the playoff hero Damian Williams, but they lost pass rusher Emmanuel Ogbah and cornerback Kendall Fuller. Now, even though they have their 32nd pick in the draft, the defending champs can use that to help out the defense or even an O-line piece. The overlaying factor is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and that whole entire team is going to be primed for a repeat. The Las Vegas Raiders is a team that I like to see do good, I'm not going to lie. Something about that black and silver I really do have a fond for. They picked up Jeff Heath, Jason Witten, linebacker Corey Littleton, Eli Apple, and Marcus Mariota, just to name a few of the moves they made. Apple and Heath will help the loss of Carl Joseph and Daryl Worley. Depending on how Gruden gets his team ready, this next season will show if they are ready. Bright side, there's no Antonio Brown distraction, so, sky's the limit for this team. The Los Angeles Chargers have had one of the best free agencies helping out their O-line, signing Brian Bulaga from the Packers and acquiring guard Trey Turner helps out tremendously to a team that ranked 31st in pass block grades. They tagged Hunter Henry, picked up Linval Joseph down low, signed Chris Harris to an already stout secondary, and re-signed fantasy hero Austin Eckler. All they need now is somebody to replace Phillip Rivers. Cam Newton, or will they rock with Tyrod Taylor? The Los Angeles Rams have been a bit up and down since their Super Bowl loss to New England, and this team will look a little different coming next season. They lost a lot of veterans: Eric Weddle, Dante Fowler, Nikel Roby-Coleman, Michael Brockers, Corey Littleton, Brandon Cooks, and Todd Gurley. Sounds like the whole damn team, right? On the bright side, they signed Leonard Floyd and A'Shawn Robinson to help out the pass rush in that D-line with Aaron Donald there. It's definitely going to be a team to watch to see how they respond with all the new personnel changes. The Miami Dolphins can only go up from last season, and with a flurry of offseason moves and signings, it looks like they'll be a better team next year. Byron Jones in 2019 was graded as a top 5 man coverage corner and will fit well in Miami's man coverage scheme. Signing Eric Flowers is a little questionable depending on how he performs going forward. Jordan Howard is a good pickup. He is a young, productive back still. Now, where Miami really needed help was in their pass rush. Thus, they signed Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Kyle Van Noy. Their linebacking core will be solid when rushing the QB. Will they make some noise as a team? Probably not. The Minnesota Vikings lost a lot of key players in free agency. A lot of faces will be missed. They traded Stephon Diggs for a 4th, 5th, and 6th round pick. They lost Xavier Rhodes, who hasn't been his usual self from some years back, but he's still a good, decent corner. Corner Trey Waynes is also gone. Linval Joseph is gone. Everson Griffin is gone. Mackenzie Alexander is gone. Safety Andrew Sendejo and safety Jaron Kearse are also gone. The positives? They re-signed fullback CJ Ham. He's pretty good during run block and pass block situations. They franchise tagged safety Anthony Harris, who's come on pretty strong. They also signed D-tackle Michael Pierce down low, and they put a 2nd round tenor on upcoming linebacker Eric Wilson. I have my longtime Vikings fan and brother Tristan Elleros on the line. Tristan, how do you feel about the Vikings free agency moves in regards to your expectations coming next season?
Well, first off, I just want to commend you for what you're doing, brother. Hope everything's going well and wish you good success in the future. But for the Vikings for next season, as a fan, I don't like when I don't know what's really happening or what the ideologies and what the focus is for the front office to be for the next season. I don't like that as a fan. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I feel for this past offseason is I don't know if the front office believes that this team can contend, but all the moves that they're making would suggest otherwise. And so what I mean by that is last season, you had high expectations, you made the playoffs, you got to the divisional round, mm-hmm. and then after that, you just clean house. And I know that we're in a tough cap situation with Kirk Cousins' contract, some of the veterans' contracts, but I just feel like when you cut so many defensive starters, like we talked about a little before this, you cut Linval, you cut Rhodes, you cut Trey Waynes, you get rid of Mackenzie Alexander, who was one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the league. You let longtime leader Everson Griffin go. You let all these guys go. Then you trade your best offensive weapon, in my opinion, Stephon Diggs. Yeah. You trade a starting offensive lineman in Josh Klein, who you're now going to eat that dead cap money for this upcoming season on. And these moves, they're just coming in a series of if looking from the outside in, you would think that this team is in a full rebuild mode. But then you look at what they're doing, they extend Kirk Cousins, which would suggest that they're trying to be competitive this season.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just, as a fan, I don't like not knowing. But what I can say is in free agency, we didn't do much, but we did make some moves for 2021. But when that time comes around for free agency, we are set up in a position to succeed and sign some big name free agents. I still think something's coming, if I'm being honest, whether it be Trent Williams, a trade for Trent Williams, or anything like that. I still think that's on the table. But for the draft, I just want to see us take a corner and a receiver with 22 and 25. And two guys I like are Jeff Gladney and Jalen Reagor. Those are the two guys I really want in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But for the upcoming season, man, the expectations really would just be, I want to see growth out of guys like Olabisi Johnson and Irv Smith, and two guys that, for a big name, that are going to be thrown into some roles this upcoming season are Mike Hughes and Holton Hill.
Definitely.
Regardless if we take a cornerback first round, those two guys right there are going to be thrown into some spots where they are going to have to make some plays early. And I do believe in Mike Hughes and Holton Hill, but those are the two guys I would look at, because if they fall off, the secondary is going to be in shambles. So those are the two guys I would look at on defense. And, the expectations for this team going forward, I just want to see growth from the young guys. And for me personally, I know a lot of Vikings fans feel differently, and they want to see this team succeed and go far this next season. I see this being a down season, in my personal opinion, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a little bit of a rebuild. We let a lot of veterans go. I think it was time to let those guys move on. And I think it was time for a new change in the team, and I think that's what we're heading for. And I'm okay with that.
Hey, man, words from a true fan there, man. I think looking at your guys' division, the Packers and Lions and the Bears, only got to worry about Devontae Adams really as a wide receiver threat. You're looking at the Bears. I don't really see a threat there on the wide receiver end, and the Lions are the Lions, man. So, you guys are still got a good shot, and I think you'll be pretty good, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Hopefully.
Thank you so much, brother. You have a good one, Tristan.
Joe, you too.
The New England Patriots might finally be normal, guys. We all know they lost Tom Brady to the Bucs. They lost Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins. The main focus for New England was on re-signing a few guys, such as guard Joe Thuney and safety Devin McCourty. This team's weakness was in the wide receiver group. They are young and inexperienced. Perhaps Belichick will target this in the draft, as well as finding a successor to Tom Brady in the near future. The New Orleans Saints have the Drew Brees and Taysom Hill combo for another year. Drew Brees re-signed to a 2-year, $50 million contract, and Hill has his first-round tender on him. Picking up Malcolm Jenkins to replace Von Bell is great, as the vet returns to the team that drafted him. Emmanuel Sanders is another explosive weapon on offense for Brees, alongside Kamara and Michael Thomas. They also tightened up their trenches on both sides, signing guard Andres Pete and D-lineman David Onyemata. Losing Eli Apple and linebacker AJ Klein won't hurt too much to this team. The New York Giants could have probably made some better moves in free agency. I like Daniel Jones, and you would like to see the franchise build around him. Picking up linebackers Blake Martinez and Kyler Fackrell will help, but overpaying corner James Bradbury $45 million over 3 years and then tagging D-lineman Leonard Williams will force the Giants to pay him like an elite defender, which he isn't quite just yet. The New York Jets, similar to the Giants, aren't surrounded their young QB with talent. The Jets, however, are helping Sam Darnold out by signing guard Connor McGovern and tackle George Fant. They also picked up corner safety Brian Poole. The main issue here is that the Jets lost Robbie Anderson, Ty Montgomery, Demaryius Thomas, center Ryan Khalil, and corner Tremaine Johnson. Who does Sam Darnold have to throw the football to? Another mediocre season is on the way. The Philadelphia Eagles lost some key names in free agency. Jason Peters, Nelson Aguilar, Ronald Darby, Jordan Howard, Vinnie Curry, and Malcolm Jenkins. However, they have done a nice job replacing these guys. Boston Scott and Miles Sanders will hold on the running back position. Darius Slay is a huge upgrade over Darby. Resigning safeties Rodney McLeod and Jalen Mills is good too. And Javon Hargrave will help that D-line out that still has Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham wrecking havoc. The Eagles are well coached and always in the thick of things. My longtime friend and Eagles diehard fan Gerald Boyd is on the line. Gerald, what do you want to see from your Eagles next season that you didn't see last season?
Eagles. For me, we have really high expectations. I have really high expectations for the Eagles. Like I expect another Super Bowl within the next couple of years, only because we have the talent, we have the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last season it was disappointment, but at the same time, it was kind of like, man, these guys had heart because we was facing so much injuries. I mean, there's no team that had probably more injuries than us to their top players. I mean, you think about, you know, like our receivers. I mean, we were literally grabbing receivers from the practice squad, guys who we like did not think would play one snap. We were able to win. We were able to make like a last season push with them. So, I mean, I have really high expectations. But the number one thing we have to do, we have to stay healthy. I think the moves that Doug Peterson has made in the offseason, grabbing Nickell Robey-Coleman and Darius Slay, those were our number one concerns. You know, the secondary. We have to beef up the secondary. I was kind of bummed out that we lost Malcolm Jenkins. I kind of understand, just because we need more pieces. We didn't want to sign him to a fat contract. Not, you know, he's a veteran safety, but we don't want to give him a big contract. You know, in the next couple of years, I'm at the tail end of his career. So we needed to address some issues. But I'm hoping we draft a receiver. Hoping we get a receiver, and I think that'll really, really complete our team. So I'm excited. I'm expecting us to at least win a division and make a playoff push.
Right, man. I mean, I think you guys got a good coach in Doug Peterson. You know, your GM does a good job, like you said. In the last season, you guys were facing a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries. I think when you guys are fully healthy, you guys got a good squad behind you, and you should be competitive like always.
Yeah, man. Like I said, the number one issue was our secondary. You know, people were hitting career records on us. You know what I mean? Career highs. I mean, what Diggs did to us, man, it was just embarrassing. But you know, one thing that did kind of made me we kept McLeod, which I really like Rodney McLeod, but signed Jalen Mills. Like, no disrespect. I hope the man prosper in his life. Come on. We gotta know when to cut bait. I think that bait. You know, you want to keep believing in the person, but at some point, you gotta realize, like, you know, you gotta think. You gotta look at the progression of that player. Like, if he's not progressing over the next few years, it's like, how long do you wait? And then we signed him, for a 1 year contract, and I understand, but it's like, man, he's gotten burnt so many times. You know what I mean? How many times does he have to get burnt to realize he's just slow? You know what I mean? He's really good for the opponent, so.
I definitely feel you, man. I think you guys will be okay. You know, we got our own problems over here in Dallas, man, but hey, I want to appreciate you for joining the podcast, man, and hopefully your family and friends stay safe and stay COVID free, brother. Thank you for joining us, man.
Yes, sir. Go Eagles. All right, man. See you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers' window for another Super Bowl has not closed. Even with the losses of Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, it has not derailed this team as much as people would think. They franchise tagged Bella Dupree, picked up Eric Ebron, got a good run blocking fullback in Derek Watt. They lost players that weren't really impactful to begin with. Corner Artie Burns and safety Sean Davis weren't really playmakers in the secondary. Mark Barron has also been cut. A healthy Big Ben with a strong defense could make the AFC North all the more tougher. I think I trust Mike Tomlin with this one. The San Francisco 49ers traded away DeForest Buckner to the Colts for a first-round 13th pick, where they can address the loss of Emmanuel Sanders with another receiver out of the draft. They re-signed edge rusher Eric Armstead and 6th overall ranked safety Jimmy Ward, who since his injury has played extremely well. Kyle Shanahan's offense will be primed for another run. The Seattle Seahawks' area of concern was their offensive line. They lost tackle George Fant, but didn't improve on their tackle position, signing Brandon Shell. Shell is not a horrible pass blocker, but their improvement, if any, is minimal. They found a steal in acquiring Quentin Dunbar for a 5th-round pick from the Redskins, signed Greg Olsen, and re-signed D-lineman Jaron Reed. For this team to have success in the playoffs, Russell Wilson needs protection. The run game is there, the weapons are there, just protect them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we all know, have acquired Tom Brady, the closest thing to the GOAT of the NFL that you'll get. The Buccaneers have done a decent enough job over the past few years in acquiring talent to help Jameis Winston. You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, just to name a few. As long as that defense holds up in close games and Brady doesn't turn the ball over, they can be a top 5 team in the league potentially. And with the franchise tag on edge rusher Shaquille Barrett, re-signing of Jason Pierre-Paul, and $20 million in cap space left over, they can still make another splash signing to increase their Super Bowl odds. The Tennessee Titans have been active in free agency, mainly to replace holes lost. They cut Delanie Walker, Dion Lewis, Cameron Wake. They lost Logan Ryan to free agency, traded away Jarrell Casey, and lost tackle Jack Conklin. They re-signed Tannehill to a $118 million contract, tagged Derrick Henry, signed tackle Dennis Kelly, and edge rusher Vic Beasley. Listen guys, Tannehill is not worth the money. Derrick Henry runs and has legs like Earl Campbell, an Earl Campbell running style with a Ford F-150 frame. You pay that guy. The Washington Redskins have been in the same routine since RG3 and Kirk Cousins, barely scraping 2 playoff berths surrounded with a bunch of average or mediocre seasons. However, now that they have a real coach again in Ron Rivera, things could change. They signed corner Kendall Fuller to replace the loss of Quentin Dunbar, franchise tag one of the best guards in the NFL, Brandon Scherff, signed veteran linebacker Thomas Davis and guard Wes Schweitzer, and also picked up safety Sean Davis from the Steelers. Losing Josh Norman doesn't hurt as much as you would think either. If Haskins can develop, this team can get good really quickly. With that, we have covered all 32 NFL teams. I want to thank you all for joining us in the podcast and wish you all a safe COVID-free life. Signing off, Isaiah Jenkins.